Hello everybody.
Hello, welcome to episode
13? 12.
12.
Episode 12, yeah.
Yeah, you weren't in the one last week, the secret one. How you been?
Pretty good, yeah.
Good.
Had a little bit of a cold,
Okay,
but
another one.
seems better.
Okay,
Yeah. How about you?
I've been fine. I was going to quarantine you with the whole...
I don't think it's coronavirus.
Is it not?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, that's what they all say, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Just to get out of the country. Well, what are we doing today?
So we are going to mention two new Patreons.
We are Lester and Mikhail. We was questioning the pronunciation.
Possibly Michelle.
Possibly Michelle.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the Patreon Club.
Yeah.
You are going to be potentially into the tournament.
Absolutely,
and
will
also
be. Yeah.
Recipients of your new scenarios that are coming down the line. They are.
Yes, they are very close.
Now
we're actually planning to playtest one, aren't we?
we are on Sunday night. We're going to be.
Yeah.
I think this
And
Sunday
it's
night.
Tuesday night tonight. So
So
end of this week.
Yeah.
We're going to be playtesting the first, and there are 4 amazing scenarios. Amazing scenarios. Unplay tested. I mean, like the counters have not even been pulled.
Never been criticised.
Never been criticised. Yeah, they got perfect balance.
Yeah.
And we'll be.
So
playtesting them
if
over
you're
the
on
next
Vassal on Sunday night UK time, maybe about 8 o'clock-ish, something like that
UK time, yeah. Feel free to pop in and have a look.
So this video should be up around about Thursday, probably Friday, something like that. So come along if you're there and say
very welcome. Yeah.
Have
a sneak preview.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking forward to that. Okay. We've also got to talk a little bit about what you've been doing this week.
Yes.
You've been having some.
Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that now. So Pegasus Bridge, my Pegasus Bridge campaign game. We're into the first full daylight scenario. It's great because the Germans get loads of points to buy stuff. I bought tons of infantry. Then I realised you weren't allowed to buy that much, and I had to scale it back. And I bought some mediocre tanks and things like that, which you kind of have to end up buying. But the Germans are very, very strong. And actually, Martin's very, very short of good leaders. For some reason, nearly all his best leaders are wounded or dead. He's got lots of wounded. And
you say for some reason, the man at the other end of the gun. I mean, you can't blame anyone else.
It's a sniper thing.
Yeah,
a sniper thing. I think I've been a bit fortunate, and he's been a little unfortunate on the what's happened to his leaders in the course of the game. So actually, I was making pretty good progress. I had the hospital, the maternity hospital. You know the game fairly well. I've got all the medium machine guns up there. There's 3 up there now with a -2, 10-2 German leader, getting a bit of Overwatch. Managed to get big fat platoons of Germans concealed really, really close to the British. In fact, adjacent. And at the end of my turn 1, I think it was the end of my turn 1. No, it was the end of my turn 2. I thought, right, I'm breaking in here. This is going to be really, really good because I'm concealed. I've got 3 whole platoons, mine a -1 leader, and all the units sort of like firing from behind. And I think to myself, he can take a really, really negligibly, most likely ineffective prep fire shot, and then have the whole front line broken probably, or he can try and sort of like disappear and sort of like retreat. So I expected him to do that. But on his win dice roll, he got civilian interrogation. He uncovered the stack. Prep fired, really good shot, like sort of 24 +3 or even better. Broke all of them except the leader. The leader was unbroken. And I thought, okay, that's bad, but they're only going to wrap back a little bit. It's not the end of the world. And then, of course, he fired a Piat. Piat needs a 5 to hit, I guess. It's 8 plus. They saw Rege. It was either a 7 or an 8 +3 for him to hit. Of course, he rolled a 3. Then in the effects die roll, he also rolled a 3, which meant I lost 3 half squads, and it wounded the leader.
Wow.
So that felt a little bit grim. Those were my sniper numbers, though. But I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
Now, how many squads roughly do you have? What kind of impact does that have on the?
In terms of the total number, I've got loads of squads. I mean, I don't know what to do with
like 20, 30, 40?
I mean, I've actually designated some of them to sort of do the paperwork in the back of the out the front line. That's probably 30 squads. Or something. It's big. I mean, he's got a lot as well, and he's got much more punch. Most of his are 6 firepower. So it's and I've got loads of like rubbish tanks as well, which I think might be really useful later because a lot of them have got good anti-tank guns on them. He's going to bring some tanks on next game. Next campaign game date. It's the turn he gets a lot of British infantry coming up from the beach with tanks, but
Okay.
they only stay on for one campaign game
Right.
day, then they go off again.
Okay.
So you know, this is my chance to make some headway,
Yep.
and I thought I was, and he's a bit of not bit slow me down, but I think I'll be back in it in a minute,
Okay.
in a couple of turns, but it'll slow me down, and then next campaign game date he's probably going to be pushing back against me.
Okay.
So it's interesting.
Wow.
It's a real kind of seesaw sort of battle.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
okay.
It's very interesting.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. So I haven't done a lot. I've done a little bit of work on the archive. So
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
the Remember Me functionality working on the new site,
Yeah.
not on the current site, but on the new site. So you can add to the box and you can stay logged in. It's been a pet hate of mine for a long time that Remember Me hasn't been working. So that now works. And we are going to do a migration to the new site probably in the first week of March. So I will put up a notice at the start of March to say don't add any more data to the archive, because what it means, I've got to create the new server and then I've got to migrate everything across. And if you're on the old server, which means the existing server right now, then after I've done that migration, the data may remain on that old server. And then when your DNS propagates, when you get the new address of the new server, then that will end up on the new server. So if you see the message not to update anything on the archive, don't update anything, because basically it will get lost.
You can't take it down or something to make sure it doesn't do it by mistake.
So the problem is that at some point there will be two sites that will be up, but for some people the DNS entry for the internet address for the archive will be on the new one, and some people it will be on the old one. So it's a case of, well, I could take it down, but it will just mean then basically that some people will get it. It'll be completely dead for them.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it up for almost like a read-only mode. But the new one will be the one that we point to. So that's
really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'll be good. And there's still plenty of work to do on it, but I think we'll kind of catch up a bit. And I think then I'll start focusing a bit more on getting more packs. We'll talk to some more publishers about getting some packs back up there. I know we've got the 3 packs from the design packs from the ESG guys, but I think it'll be good to get some other packs up there as well. We've got I think there's an Aslscenarioarchive pack up there, and there's one other one as well. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
I also finally pre-ordered, just at the last minute probably, the Rege pack. The thing that put me over the edge was knowing that I'd get 46 in total trucks for the Opal Blitzes. There was a thread Evan Sherry posted about the fact that there's now going to be 46, I think, in the
Because quite a few times in your ASL career so far you've needed more than the 6 that came with the game, and you've probably got about 18.
I don't know where I'm going to do it. But I don't know if you can get the campaign games separately.
No, I don't know whether you can. No, I play tested that with Martin Mayers.
You had a good time, you said?
Yeah, very clever. Very good. Very good scenario.
Matt looks excellent, I'm really quite keen. So I thought that's the last chance. So for anyone thinking about that isn't in America that can pre-order it, I guess from MMP, which is probably the most cost-efficient place. I got mine up from Second Chance Games at, I think it was £150. So it's not cheap by any stretch, but I guess
it's a lot in there, and it'll be out of print for a bit, presumably.
Exactly. So that's that.
And it's cheaper if you pre-order now.
Yes, exactly.
In the UK,
about £15 cheaper.
Yeah,
so 10%.
Okay.
Or so cheaper. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we are going to do our top 5, and we're going to do our top 5 of
scenarios from Le Franctura
number 14. That's right.
That's right.
So there's 32 scenarios in this pack, and we both looked at these separately. It was hard. It was really hard.
And we didn't have much agreement, I don't think.
We picked out of the 10 possible choices. We picked 9 scenarios. So and we didn't. There was no. We didn't fix this. We didn't.
But we did have the same number 1.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And we both now looked at it and gone, oh, actually, this is quite tricky, isn't it? So
it's quite an unusual scenario. We'll talk about that when we get to the top,
absolutely.
I guess.
So we can do that. And anything else we should mention? We are 3 patrons away now from giving away our next pack, which is going to be a copy of either a March Madness pack or a From the Cellar pack from Le Franc's here. I'm going to go and buy that copy on the Patron's Choice. We're going to then play one again from the Patron's Choice, and we will play that. And perhaps what I want to try and encourage, I think, is for like a group of us all to be playing the same sort of scenario and get a little bit of focus. I've tried to do this before with like scenarios a month thing. There are so many scenarios, and nobody really gets a really good focus on scenarios once they've kind of gone out of fashion. They land, they're a little bit hot for a little while, and they kind of trickle out again. It would be nice to see, 4, 5, 6 play-ins of the same scenario all around the world, just so that we can have a little bit of conversation.
People having a conversation about it. I mean, you get it a little bit by chance, don't you? Because a new journal will come out, and there'll be favourites, and people are playing those, and people are talking about them.
But it fades off, doesn't it?
It fades off very quickly. it would be interesting to. And to perhaps be playing things that wouldn't be quite so obvious as favourites, because they're perhaps in the journal or
That's
whatever.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I think there's in this pack in particular, I think there's some great scenarios. I think they're really. It looks like I was flicking through, and I was thinking, well, how do you choose between these? Because they really are. They're really similar. There's a kind of a theme running through about the Italians, isn't there?
But there's lots of colonial troops and kind of quite unusual sort of situations.
Right, and good mixes as well. So it's not just two nations fighting each other. There's often, because they're all colour coded, 3-4 colours, and often in many of these scenarios. And so
there was one you said you thought would work well as a.
I'm going to mention
you mentioned that
when
we get to it. Fine, that's fair.
Okay,
so
our top 5.
Top 5 from Le Fractura 14.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to go first?
Sure. Okay, I go first. Yeah. So Axis and Allies was number 5.
I thought carefully about putting this one in. Actually, I didn't put it in, but I thought about it. Yeah.
So it was too big for today. I think one thing we should point out, actually, by the way, the friends here have added the hours it's going to take to play each scenario, which is really quite nice.
That's very good. Yeah.
Now I think they're a little bit optimistic sometimes. So I think this is you've got to assume this is for quick players. So we'll check that, and I think we'll talk about our
perhaps with the one we're doing.
Exactly.
We'll time it.
Yeah. So to show, and obviously we have a little bit of time to talk about it, but.
So what appealed to you about this?
So the clear thing was 4 different nationalities. So Americans against the Germans, but with the Italians and Italian partisans fighting on each side. So effectively, there is a quarter of the force for different forces for each country. Yeah. So a perfect 4-player game. And you could actually, because basically the force is almost split very, very evenly. Yeah. But I think what you could do, which would be really quite interesting, is to try to have it with a little bit of kind of fog of war with communication. So, for example, if the 2 allied players can have a chat at the start of their turn about what their objectives are, but then in theory they don't talk tactically at all throughout that turn. So you can kind of say, okay, look, we've got to get, let's try and get this hex row, or let's try and push this, but don't be saying, shall I push this guy around to the right and then you go there and we'll see.
It's going to be quite difficult, isn't it? Because it's an interesting idea, because you want to be coordinating things like prep fire. Yeah. But you can't coordinate.
That's right. Yeah. And whether or not you intersperse. Okay, I take an action, you take an action, that kind of stuff. But I would like to see. I would think that would be a really quite
interesting idea. Yeah, an interesting one.
It appeals to me because it was almost like a perfectly split 4-way scenario, and I think that was quite nice. 7 turns. Italian. Look really good. So
variety there of vehicles, isn't there? A variety of types of units.
Yeah, everyone gets a gun at least and things like that. So it's all quite nice.
Excellent. So my number 5 was Armoured Probe at Sidi Nazir. I'm not sure how you would say that. Much shorter, so this is estimated at 4.5 hours. FT239. Now I thought this was really interesting because I read a very, very big book by a New Zealand journalist called Morehouse, I think, about the whole campaign in North Africa. Okay. And he constantly mentions how staggered he is when they move to a new area, just how green and lush North Africa can be. Right. So we always assume that it's got to be desert, but it's not at all like that in much of North Africa. And of course this is in North Africa, it's in Tunisia, and of course it's on the normal West European, the European sort of geo boards, whatever. And you just got... you got a good solid French force in November 1942. You don't use the French so often, later in the war like that, but of course they're there, and they're being attacked by Italians and Germans. It looks like an interesting scenario. Right. Yeah.
And you've got, again, a possibility for a 3-player scenario there. You can split those forces if you want to.
Yes.
And even if you wanted to give someone the AFEs for the Allies as well, and have that. But the board configuration looks really good as well, with the two hills
on either side of the valley in the middle. And I quite like the mix of like relatively unusual vehicles. So there'd be quite an interesting sort of battle going on between those, as well as the infantry battle.
Yeah, that's very
armoured
nice.
Cars, all sorts.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, all right. My number 4, Chowkina. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but just because Italians against Japanese.
Would not expect it, would
you? I mean, my World War II knowledge isn't amazing, but I would have never have thought that
I wouldn't have thought that. It's explained, isn't it? It's explained the situation.
That's right, yeah.
And even after I read it, it still surprised me.
With a gunboat as well. And that's the other thing which was and the gunboat actually sets up, obviously, in a river somewhere.
Yes.
But the other side of where the attack's going on. So it's all going on here. It's just, I mean, why wouldn't I want to play Italians versus Japanese? I mean, it just looks great. And I noticed Philippe Nord is a designer of many of these scenarios.
Yes.
And he had a huge hand in the Journal 3 scenarios. He's published 200 scenarios.
That's amazing.
That are recorded on the archive. So
and that's something you can check on the archive.
You can check on that.
You can check into anything on that archive.
You can do everything. But but I mean, what a tribute to the number of scenarios that he's designed. And so we're actually going to be playing a Philippe scenario as well later on. So
excellent. Gladium. Okay, we'll talk about that one.
So Japanese Italian Charles Cena.
Okay. So my number, whatever we're up to now, 4, was Fratelli 252, so FT 252, and this is the Italians. Sorry, this is the Axis, the Germans and Italians, the Allied Italians.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So obviously things got very confused in Italy, and this is quite late in the war, 1945. Now it's got all kinds of kind of cute little vehicles. So it's got the little British carriers, and they're always fun to play with. Got some, you got some vehicles with the Italians as well, and they're wheeled vehicles, aren't they? So they kind of want to stay on the road. It's kind of very built up map.
Yes, yeah,
pretty much city boards, and in fact. Number 23 is from early in the system, isn't it? You've got that sort of Calais ones, haven't you, and stuff like that from Beyond Valor. But this has bicycles.
Oh wow! Okay, all right.
And I think I have only once played with bicycles, and there was a bicycle for a single man counter.
That's the finished scenario.
It's a finished scenario that we play tested. I don't even know if it's in there.
That's because I think we looked for it. Yeah, we both looked for it, and I don't know what happened to it.
No, maybe that one didn't make it, or they took the bicycle out. That's not impossible.
That's right. Yeah, so that had OBA coming down, and I seem to try to remember
trying to hit the guy on the bicycle.
Something I seem to remember. But you're right.
That was crazy. So I think that's the only time I tried to design a scenario with bicycles once. And I kind of didn't finish it, but I think I was even going to drop them out of it because they didn't really make a big difference to the situation. So I'd be really interested to see why. And bicycles very common in the war.
Yeah,
British landed in Normandy carrying bicycles.
Oh really?
Folding ones. Yeah. I mean, we think you think you're clever with your folding bicycle. They had them way back there.
Right.
And. Or was it folding motorbikes they had?
That's even better.
They had bicycles.
Okay,
whether they were folding or not, I don't know.
Okay.
Germans often moved about on bicycles, so I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, four different colours of nationalities in there. You've got some British
hodgepodge in here.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it looks really good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So when we said we had only 9 out of the 10 with different styles,
we were wrong, weren't we?
We found another one.
Yeah. So I bet I had a different reason for choosing this than you.
I think you did. So, okay.
You talk about it.
All right, okay. Well, I picked it because it was representative of the Venturi effects. I picked it because it's very representative of what's quite nice, which is a little bit of fog of war in the thing. Now, this is also very present in the Death to Fascism pack. We'll take another look at some point. I've got that. But this really is the idea of, how many counters there are, and we had the scenario earlier on where you knew I deployed because of this and the other, and you can basically figure out, well, that's your medium machine gun and this is your, these scenarios give you the chance to just kind of alter that a little bit, so there is no idea, you've got no idea whether it's arguably a flamethrower or whether it's a different particular tank or whatever it is that's in there, and you're given just an option of 3 different groups. So for example, the Italians here can have either a 447, a flamethrower, or they can have an additional light machine gun and a heavy machine gun and a 6.1 leader, or they can have an M41M ammo vehicle.
So most of the order of battle is fixed like a normal scenario,
right.
but there's you can sort of fine tune it a little bit.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean the difference between adding a tank or a flamethrower to your OOB is huge, and it's obviously it will be fairly obvious very quickly which one you've chosen. But in terms of giving the scenario replayability options, it's huge. Now again, I'd love these scenarios to get played enough where we can say, okay, this seems to be a bit of paper, scissors, rock, and if you go this one, then I had to pick this, and this one seems to be the safest choice, and things like that, and I don't think we'll ever...
There's so many scenarios there are, it's very unlikely that this one will be.
But, I mean, so both sides get the options to do that.
But this is the kind of place, or kind of scenario where if you had this as a kind of scenario of the month or whatever,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
people were all looking at the same scenario, you would begin to get a sense of what is the best play, what's the disastrous play, which one goes against which one.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what
we even have discussion of like when I went for it because there was a boy at school called Mark Venturi. So I just picked it from Mark.
Did he have an effect on you?
I didn't know him
30
very well.
years later, you did, didn't
He
you?
had a very distinctive name.
Well, yeah.
I think that's the main effect that Mark Venturi had on me.
Sorry, no, you were saying, yeah, go on.
I'm sure well, that was it.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, no. So, no, you could even have the situation where it would become clear that if you get the flamethrower and the other person gets the whatever, that's a disastrous one for the Italians.
Yeah.
But how would you deal with that situation if that situation arose?
Exactly.
And people could have some very interesting discussions about it. Yeah,
exactly.
perhaps.
And there might be a safe choice that gives you a 50% chance to win, and there might be one that gives you a 75% chance to win, but makes it much difficult if you know if they go for
the risky one.
That's
or whatever.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it would be great, and I think one day we'll have to do something like this. We'll have to play it like 2 or 3 times and just try and see if it.
I think back to the old squad leader days when I was at university, and all I had was squad leader, and like all the guys in my sort of flat were playing it. There were 12 scenarios. We played them over and over again.
Yeah.
So we did begin to get an idea about like really kind of understanding them, and it was very different.
That's how many reasons for why that's the best years of your life, all in that one sentence. It was brilliant. That was a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, looks good though, doesn't it?
Looks
good.
good.
6.5 turns, 5 hours. Yeah, looks good.
So which number?
Number 2.
Your number 2. Now,
yeah, my number 2 was Commando Beach number 2. So it's the second.
This is a Seaborne Assault, isn't it?
Well, I think it's following up from.
No,
I think it's following up from.
No.
Yeah, the first.
There was a Seaborne Assault in the pack, wasn't there?
That's right, Commando Beach.
It's
Yeah,
not
Commando Beach. I think is
Commando Beach 1.
Yeah, and then this is I think it's the same day, just set a little bit later on in the day. Again, has a little bit of a differentiation between the groups that you can choose. 3-hour scenario according to these guys. Again, I think it looks like it's a little bit longer than that. I mean, there's what if you've got 20 squads or so on the German side, and you've got something like 9, 10, 11 squads on the British side. So certainly fairly the Italian fairly detailed setups, conditions, but only 5 turns. But it looked quite a nice set up, and it was deluxe, and it was the balls that were part of the deluxe pack that I had a good hand in. So I kind of thought, well, that would be a nice one, and I put it high up just in case you picked it.
Are these your boards?
Yeah.
Well, they're not.
Steve Swan and the balls that I got the artwork.
I didn't realise that when I was looking at that.
Oh, okay.
So I'd love to play the Seaborne Assault one.
Right. Okay.
And actually, that's on a Frank Tura Seaborne, which I've got that board actually.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we can have a look at
But I mean, not tonight.
No.
But I like Seaborne Assaults. I think we've maybe talked about this on the channel before. But I'd love to feature Seaborne Assaults one.
We'll do it. Yeah, of course.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Commando Beach 2. Mm-hmm. There we go. That's me.
Excellent. Okay, so my number 2 was Insurrection at Cividale, FT254. Now I think I fancy this because I got those black counters from last week now, and this features the Waffen SS. It's about 10 squads roughly each side. The Italians have a little bit more. The SS appear to be defending. Estimated time is about 5 hours. It's Scott Holst, of course, one of the great ASL names, and we've got. I don't know. You've got an interesting mix of vehicles. Working with the infantry, and I thought that would be that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, looks good. It goes to show you, we talked last week about the 200 hours worth of playtime, from Archive's recommendation of how long it would take
just in this pack,
in just one pack. So that's a month's worth of work, isn't it? Of playing every scenario just once. Incredible, really, for how much.
Do you know from the archive how many scenarios there are now in existence?
Yeah. So it's about 7,000, I think, that are in there.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. I wonder what the playing time for that would be.
That's right. So so on the archive, on the new archive, you can see how much of your collection you've played, and what percentage you've got through it. So. Do you want to guess how much percentage? It won't be quite I think what you expect. So imagine my collection. Roughly my collection. Probably what most people have got. There's certainly 5, 6, 7 binders worth of scenarios.
Yeah.
So how much of my collection have I played? So this is
3%.
Yeah, it's 15%.
Oh,
So yeah, it's higher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's hundreds of scenarios that we don't have. Obviously, you know, there's packs and packs that we don't have, and obviously sometimes there's reprinted scenarios as well, which might count twice in the scenario. Yeah, it's a tricky challenge on the archive.
And there are. I remember when we were playing all the time, which we kind of are again now. But you know, before, like a new journal would come up, we'd pretty much play them all.
We go through it. Yeah,
we'd go through them one bit by bit.
Yeah. So 15%. So I think I've got something like of what I've logged at least.
Yeah.
I've done something like I think I've played 350 scenarios, something like that. But obviously, a lot of those I played twice, you know, or more than once, against other people. And so we've got about, I don't know, whatever number it is, 3,000.
Plus all the ones you lost and didn't log. I mean, there's.
That's only against you. That's the only ones I don't log. But okay, all right.
Okay, so we both chose the same one.
Yep.
And this was genuine.
Genuine,
wasn't it?
yeah.
We didn't cheat with this.
Nope.
Gladium pro Patria a Rege.
Which we think means a
sword for king and country. Yeah. In fact, it's translated on here as draw sword for king and country.
Okay.
But I think the literal translation would be sword for king and country.
Okay. Yeah.
But this stood out, didn't it?
Yeah.
It stood out because again, for the same reasons. There's armour and there's guns and there's infantry. So there's an interesting range of terrain across the board. Yeah,
and what's really interesting about this one, and what drew me to it, was the Italians. So to win the game, the Germans are going to have to push off a certain number of points off. We'll explain the scenarios as part of the setup. But you've got to get a certain number of points off the board edge. But the Italians can win at the end of the game if they've got a tank within 6 hexes of my setup area. So I've got this challenge of knowing whether I'm going to push guys off and then let you in for the win, even though I've got the right number of points off. You can then bring a tank up. If it survives, we think, until the end of the game, then you will win, providing it's still mobile.
You have by far the better tanks, and you don't need to get a huge amount off. So I think the thing is, you might have to commit quite a force to help get a couple of vehicles off, or whatever it is you've got to do. But then after that, it's just about hunting and destroying my tanks.
Right, I hope so. Yeah. Now, what's interesting though is that you can set these tanks up that you've got either hip. Or you can bring them on in turns 1, 2 and 3. Now by turn 4 they're going to get revealed.
Turn 4 they'll all be on and you'll be able to see where they all are. That's right. Up until then you don't know if they're off board.
That's right.
Or if they're hidden on board.
Which is brilliant, because what it basically means is I'm not going to be wasting time firing at hexes, I don't think. Well, maybe I will if you know. But we've randomly chosen, I'm going to be the Germans for this. We rolled just before game. But there's this question of, okay, well, I can't go looking for them because they might not even be on the board. You've got this issue of, well, do you give me the advantage of not having them on the board, and therefore, I might get a strong foothold in the town. You've got.
It's an interesting puzzle, isn't it? And if I bring them on as late as possible, it gives you less chance to destroy them, but at the same time, it means they can't influence the battle. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
That's right.
It's going to be really interesting.
It is. Now, I saw a comment on the archive about this that said the trick to this scenario is grab the scout car and use that at the last turn to whiz round. Don't do that because it's only fully tracked vehicles that can win the game for you. Okay. So it's only, you've got one scout car or one armoured car.
I see. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You've got six tanks. Yeah. So only the tanks are going to count for
right.
That.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
So it's very, very interesting. I think it's supposed to be 4.5 hours. I think we'll time it as well. And we'll see how that goes. 5.5 turns, 8 squads. You've got a gun. You've got some tanks. I've got a gun. I've got some tanks. I mean, that's I've got 150mm. Big old.
Which is going to be interesting,
isn't it? Yeah, they'll break down into 10.
Just out of interest, do you know when it says 4 hours 30? Does that include setting up time in it, or is it sort of having set up?
I would think
playing
it's
time.
Playing time. Yeah, I think you wouldn't have come around at 1 o'clock and we'll be finished by 5:30. I would think.
But, no, I think that's true.
But I don't know. I mean, the archive time has a very similar number, but I would think we would say from play time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too.
So let's get set up and
in fact we're evenly balanced in win loss at the moment.
5-5. That's right. Yeah, you saw that. Yeah.
Tonight
is
over.
There'll be tears on one side. That's very true. And
Okay. Right.
All right. Okay. So let's see how we get on.
So apparently, Dave, you had a bit of an American cultural experience.
I did. So I thought I'd mention this before we started. Two American cultural experiences. So the first was just about 75 years ago. Audie Murphy won his Medal of Honor for ridiculous heroic bravery. I don't know if you know the story.
Audie Murphy.
So Audie Murphy. Well, I get to tell you the story.
Yeah.
So Audie Murphy was an American serviceman who tried to enlist in the Marines. I think I might get some of this wrong, but I'll do the best I can. Tried to enlist in the Marines, was rejected. Tried to go for the Air Force and was rejected. Maybe even the Navy as well. Went into the Army. He was a young guy, came from a pretty tough upbringing on a farm. His dad had moved away or died, I can't remember. And he was looking after, his mum did die, and he was looking after like 4 younger brothers and sisters on a farm. He went to work at 14 or something, full time. Enlisted in the Army, underage, lied about his age to get into the Army, and fought in the I think the Italian campaign around North Africa and then up into Italy. And he wrote a book, and there was a film called To Hell and Back, it's a 1955 film. It's he stars Audie Murphy as himself, so it's an incredible. The guy, for a start, is this film star looking guy. I mean, for someone who you would expect to be traumatized by war, as no doubt he would have been, this guy is like a better looking Michael J. Fox. I mean, he's just a stunningly great looking guy who just charismatic, very short guy as well. So not the most awe-inspiring army guy. A number of heroic things he did, just to kind of kind of emboss his bravery and heroism. So the thing that actually won a medal, he jumped onto a tank that was knocked out. He had there was a couple of Shermans that he was around, and there was a oncoming rush of German infantry and tanks. They said it was about 50 to 100 squads men running at him, and he managed to get onto a Sherman on the M50 and kind of gun down.
So the hero, the hero counter on
that's right. And so I know that the hero pack, there is certainly some Audie Murphy featured scenarios around that. But so the 1950, the film, it doesn't age well in terms of how soldiers die, and it's a horrible thing to criticise. But in terms of the 1950s style of every shot wounds cleanly, kills guys clutch the chest and go down in a straight kind of. But to demonstrate what was actually going on, and I think that was all fairly accurate. There was some because I'd read accounts of it before. So To Hell and Back is a decent war film to watch, and amazing heroics that he did. So that was the first thing. The second thing, heroic in a different style completely, not necessarily my stamina, but I stayed awake for the Superbowl this year. First time I've ever done that. For those that don't know, it starts at like 11:30 midnight time in UK time, and goes on for hours for an hour-long game. We don't know anything about American football, so we can't proclaim to know anything about it. But I was supporting the Kansas City Chiefs because,
of course,
the ASL club that sends over the bits and pieces. So well done to Kansas for a great victory. I know you tell me all about it as well. What did you think?
I know nothing. I
don't know either.
I was very vaguely aware it was on.
I know nothing either, but I watched it, cheered on the Kansas guys, so well done. It was hard luck to any San Francisco fans out there. I'm sure we've alienated half our viewers, but anyway, that was I just like mention those two things. And,
did you have like popcorn and?
I had some crisps, yeah. My sister who lives in America, she was asking me, they've had chicken wings, they had the whole works.
So you did a bit of a poor English version.
I had a cup of tea and a packet of crisps. But it was good, but very good. Yeah. What a show the Americans put on. They genuinely put on, I mean, from everything, from the pre-game, the halftime show, which is like a music concert in itself. Very, very good. But there we go. Okay. All right. On to the game?
On to the game.
Let's play.
Right, so this is the Italian setup for Gladium Pro Patria a Rege, and all of these units are going to be concealed. I think I've got 9 concealment counters, so there's going to be enough for me to cover up all the infantry and maybe have a dummy stack. Now these vehicles will all be hip because they're all setting up in concealment terrain. That's a special SSR. They will become unhip on turn 4. Now these two are easily within range of this road here, this place marked out by the dice. If I've got an armoured vehicle that is mobile with a main armament, probably a functioning main armament that can fire on that road within 6 hexes of it at game end, then the Italians win. So those vehicles will be able to kind of like make that charge on the last sort of 2 or 3 turns. Germans will have plenty of time to try to destroy them, but nonetheless, that's the idea. The Germans also, in order to win, have to exit 12 victory points off between here and here. So that's why these 2 blocking forces are set up to try to stop them. I've kept these vehicles on board because I have the option of bringing vehicles on turn 1, 2 or 3, and in fact I've got 4 tanks which I'm going to bring on as late as possible, probably on turn 3 or 4, so whatever the latest chances that I can. So this force is just simply there to make it difficult for the Germans to get 12 victory points off, 5 of which need to be infantry. We've got the option of flying Opel Blitzes with 2 platoons on them. Getting one of those off could be enough to give him the points. So hopefully, I've made that dangerous enough that he's going to be trying to run the infantry off. The fact that these are sort of kind of like backstop sort of positions, really, hopefully he won't realise they're there and he'll run into them, and that they'll be able to sort of save him from achieving that particular part of the victory condition. Literally just a blocking force. This gun will be hip, of course, but can certainly fire nicely down here. We've got the anti-tank rifle which can fire onto this road if the Germans attempt to go in that direction. This unit here is going to be hip. It's it's the heavy machine gun. The whole idea is that it should be able to retreat out of this position when it becomes dangerous, and potentially get it up onto the hill to fire down this way or this way, if that's the way that the Germans seem to be going. I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how this one's going to go. It's going to be interesting. So there we go. Thank you.
Okay, so here's my very quick setup for Gladium. Basically, we've got all the passengers are not passengers, other than the AT gun and the crew. So the squads and the leaders in each of the truck hexes are effectively on the same hex, but not as passengers. That's a clarification by the designer that's actually noted on the archive. So the plan really is to try and strip concealment of these guys here, use the SIG to perhaps put some covering fire down, maybe have some of the larger stacks here take on anything that's unconcealed, and then slowly push in this direction here and swing round again. Obviously the large stack on the German right is a little bit of a concern, and I've got to be wary that there could be some hip units here that I haven't seen or haven't been thinking about. So everything's got to be taken very slowly. 5.5 turns, so we're looking at about 3 hexes a turn to make progress, and obviously the tanks coming on here on turn 1. We'll push them into this area here for some covering fire across the brush. So we're in September, so the grain is in effect. No other SSRs to really notify anybody of. So let's get going. Okay.
Right. So we've reached the end of turn 1. Yeah.
So both lost a squad.
That's true.
You lost one in more spectacular fashion to me. The SIG 150 hit your guys. Got a double 1 on the effects roll. Didn't cause a flame. We had to roll for a possible flame.
That's right, but didn't roll it. Yeah.
Didn't get the flame.
Yeah.
So
I lost another squad effectively.
Yes.
I mean, I've got a conscript half squad left of that squad, but I'd be surprised if they come.
136.
Come back this
famous
game.
Last words.
You never know. They got light machine guns. If they do, they could.
Yeah, I'm not sure they're allowed to use it very effectively anymore.
No, I think you're right.
But yeah, so I've kind of come down the middle. You've got quite a large force that's not done a lot on the hill.
Yes, that's true.
Kind of sat and watched.
But they are in a position to support the defence, the crumbling defence in the woods now.
I've not revealed any. I've not found any of your tanks or your gun.
No.
Nothing's in sight there.
Yeah.
So still a bit nervous about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had lost to a KA to a guy that was coming up the road. I think, you know, in hindsight, I think I should have deployed and be pushing half squads through.
Yeah.
I think it just was thinking about just getting the game started really more than.
The thing is, they're already. I have that melting feeling, you know,
Right,
like before, you know, one turn and
Yeah.
it's been in some. Yeah, it's not a huge force in that woods.
Right,
It's,
yeah.
It's getting
I think
smaller very
the
fast.
Germans should overrun that.
Very,
You've
very
got
easily.
very little places to fall back, haven't you? That place. That's the problem with that
is
area.
the problem with that defence.
It is a difficult place to defend. It looks like a tough. I mean, when I was looking at that, tough decisions for the Italians on how to set up. It does look tricky. You've got. I think one of the things, because we talked before about whether I would pick sides or whether we'd roll for it.
Yeah.
And I would have picked the Germans only because it felt like it had less decisions to make in the setup and the
and the problem with decisions like that is if you get them wrong, you can be. You've sort of spoiled your game almost.
Yeah, and you've got tough decisions like, you know, do you bring guns on? Do you do tanks on? Do you reveal them? You know, that kind of stuff. Whereabouts are you going to defend? How are you going to defend? Are you just going to wait for the last turn and try and push those things around? Do I then, you know, respond to that and hold tanks back and stuff? So it is interesting. I'm enjoying the SIGs 150 millimeters.
They are monsters in this scenario.
Yes,
aren't they?
they are.
Yeah.
They are. All right. Okay. So turn 2.
We'll go on to turn 2.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
All right. Turn 2 done.
Enter turn 2.
Well, your Italian prisoners held their mouths shut.
And they certainly did. Yeah.
And
they ain't telling you nothing.
That's very true. So that's about, like you said, about the only thing that went well for you this turn.
That's right. I actually said, well, at least I can now say things could be worse. So the wood in the centre, that's kind of crumbled completely, isn't it? I've got. I think I did a bit of a good call, remembering that I could claim the light machine gun as my sort of like weak Italian surrender.
So basically, as the squad surrendered, you roll a dice with your SMC. Roll less than a 6, you get the machine gun.
Yeah.
So that is useful. It's very useful because you've got that now.
You can't do the fire name, which is a shame, but nonetheless, it's useful.
Yeah, you broke your heavy machine gun.
Broke my heavy machine gun, having had no effect.
Yeah, so I did roll lucky. I got one check, and I passed the one check.
You did.
And
I had 3 rates of fire.
Yep.
But it didn't. In the end, didn't finish up helping me.
You can't fire those Italian machine guns very often.
There was also the light machine gun group next door, and they had a reasonable shot, didn't they? Sort of a 6 flat or something like that. Wasn't effective. So and then my leader broke, didn't he? The 9-2 broke. What did you fire? Yeah, you fired back a. Yeah,
just had a sort of, as always, the 6-up-1 shot is the one that
broke the leader.
The
squad, to be fair, brushed it off. They pinned.
Yep.
I would have repositioned.
With the lost leader, that was the lost leader check.
That was the lost leader. That's right. Yeah. So I would have repositioned them. So I mean, looks like you've broken through the tough outer crust.
What is great about this scenario, what I'm really enjoying about this scenario, apart from the fact that it's difficult, and I can see the difficulty for the Italians in terms of defending, is that this is not over until the last turn because you've got that victory condition at the end. Yeah. Get a tank within 6 hexes of me, so I can't push my tanks crazily forward because I don't know where your tanks are. Until turn 4, I've got to be a bit careful, that's why I'm holding them back. So the infantry are pushing the way, and that's what it's got to be. I don't know where to move. I know you've got a hidden gun somewhere. I know it feels like, from your point of view, it's, you know, I've kind of steamrolled through. Actually, you've got plenty of game left in this, and there's no.
And you don't know where. I mean, all my tanks might be on the board, lined up in that cornfield, grain field.
Exactly.
For all you know.
Yep.
And and that means you've got a lot of guessing to do.
There?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Can't trick me that easily.
Turn 3.
Right.
Okay. All right. So
we finished turn 3.
Turn 3's finished, and a bit of a shock for the Germans in more ways than one. So your tank that is now blazing back in U5 caused no end of breakages of my infantry. I got the 2 prisoners. We started to advance. Your tank appeared in the orchard roads,
and there were brokies all over the place, weren't there? I mean, they've all gathered together now for the rally,
for the rout party. So that was the first surprise that threw me. Your guns got revealed on top of the hill, and has just been imposing, but not quite.
They did hit something, didn't they?
They did hit.
Didn't they wipe something out?
I can't remember if they wiped something out or if they...
Or they broke it.
No, wasn't it the prisoners? They were critically hit. They got 2 critical hits against the prisoners.
Yeah, but they did. I think they killed the half squad that was guarding them as well, because
Yes.
I remember running out of targets.
That's right.
So I had time, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then your tanks came on from a side that I wasn't expecting. I think I should have probably read the card a little bit closer, but I was thinking there was only going to be 2 because I was hoping there was going to be more hidden on the map. So you've had 4 tanks now come right at the end of the map, and so I've had to kind of spin around a bit. Now, I don't know now where I'm going to push.
Yes. Yeah.
Which way I've got to push. I'm stretched both ways. I think this
Yeah.
is an excellent scenario.
Yeah.
I think this is really, really good.
It's really interesting because the easiest thing for you is to use a tank to run off, but the more that you commit tank-wise in the north, the less you've got for the tank battle in the in the south.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I've got. I think it's really, really good. I was saying to you just as we took a break here. The reason this scenario is so good is usually with exit victory points, there comes a point where you might be it's touch and go. It might be I broke through for whatever reason. I've got a little sneaky path and I've got through it. But the victory condition for you is still open, and so there's now another game. So even if I was to get my points off, which is by no means...
The game is not over.
Right, you've got another game to then play, and you can play for that from the start. That's the kind of key thing of this. But I don't know that. I don't know which game you're playing, so I have to do both. I have to defend the victory conditions, and I have to get the guys off.
The whole hip thing with the tanks is very clever, isn't it? And
that's right.
And it was... I almost didn't want to reveal anything when I did start revealing things because actually it was quite...
And a tank appeared right in the middle of my guys. Bizarrely, I hadn't walked on that one hit. Now, it didn't last long. It only lasted until... But it broke a squad. The no CVP cap as well for me, I've got no cap, is quite liberating. Because it means I can
just run, can't you?
I can do stuff, I can get stuff on. I don't feel like I'm being punished for trying to win the scenario, which I think sometimes I kind of feel like that happens a little bit. When you feel like you have to do stuff. The tank battle I'm enjoying. I think because my tanks are probably better than yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they have got that vulnerability. The no turret and the slow side, low armour on the sides. So all in all, I'm thinking it's a really, really good scenario. And looking forward to we're just through halfway through. Any other thoughts from you?
No, not at all. I mean. At first, it felt very difficult for the Italians because they were, they're so outclassed and outgunned. There's lots of Germans, but actually, those Italians in that wood in the centre, held you up 2 or 3 turns. Which was really kind of what they're there to do, isn't it? And that's enough in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent stuff. Okay, well, let's crack on with turn 4.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
Okay.
Right then. So that's
turn
end of turn 4. 2 turns to go. 1.5 turns to go.
That's right. So it's getting close. Okay, so
so what's happened? Should we start with?
Okay. What did happen? So
you ran a couple of vehicles off. So
I ran the tank off there.
You've got all the points you need from vehicles exiting.
One truck went off.
That's right. That's right.
One tank.
So you need 5 infantry.
Yep.
You've got 4 quite close to the exit.
Yep.
But I've ran some things back now to try to get in the way.
The tank that I was expecting to come this way towards us.
Has gone that way.
Yeah.
And that's giving you a dilemma because now your tanks are kind of rushing in the wrong direction. Although you've got one quite close. Oh no.
No, that's a truck.
That's not a tank, is it? And you've got the malfunction main armament.
Yeah. So then I basically had the double acquisition here.
Yeah.
I then put my SIG in the way because I just figured it would just going to help, and that's the one. I missed by one. And that was the SIG in the way, which was a bad play for me. And then I took another shot with your blazing tank had helped mask it.
Yes.
And I mouthed my main armament.
Yeah.
So
there's 3 tanks here, any one of which can be at the end.
Yeah. So you've got
next
one turn, but I've got a turn left.
And you've got a turn left. That's
so
right.
we've just clarified the victory conditions on the forums.
Yeah.
That was in real time, really. So it says no. It says no mobile. So we know that now to be no mobile vehicles. So not in motion, just mobile. So i.e. not immobilised, shot, stunned. Yeah. Things like that.
We did wonder whether it had meant no non-mobile and
or not in motion or something like that. But
I can be in motion.
Yep.
As long as I've got a functioning main armament and I've got a line of sight to the road with those six or 7 hexes, and it's mobile
within 6 hexes.
It's within 6 hexes. 6 hexes.
Yeah. So now that's so my anti-tank gun is kind of, I'm quite happy with that where it is. I'm just going to kind of get it a little bit closer to where I think it can do a bit more damage.
And I've got 3 tanks.
Yeah, I've pushed the gun a little bit closer. I push it over the hedge.
And you've got how many 3 hunting?
Yeah, basically.
If you include the 150.
Yeah, the SIG may not go that way. So I think I'm probably going to have two tanks lock in.
And
one's got
the main armament may come back. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Hopefully, a little bit of luck that will come back, and that helps me out hugely.
Yeah, perhaps you shouldn't attempt to repair. I mean, you don't want to get recalled, do you, at this stage of the game?
Perish of thought. So it is. I'm enjoying the scenario a lot. I think it's really good. I think there's a lot going on. I think there's some nice discrete battles, 2 different places.
I've just done some quite hairy running back actually, which and I'm not in brilliant positions, but I'm,
you're okay.
I'm going to start getting into better positions.
Yeah.
It's limiting you at least to 1 exit hex.
Yeah.
And I have got some cover, some firepower around there, haven't I? We've
Yeah.
got the main gun, the artillery gun's dangerous.
Yeah.
Though it doesn't cover the exit hex, it covers some of the approaches.
Yeah, those orchards are helping me out a lot, aren't they? On the
really
on the road.
helping out. And I didn't really think them through carefully when I set up, and I should have done, because I think they're really impactful.
Yeah. I'm glad that your hip unit didn't have to reveal itself, did it? Was it just the tanks, or was it all hip units had to reveal themselves?
I think it was just the tanks, but my hip unit was long ago.
I was just wondering that your squad that was also
that you could have hipped it in that woods, in that building, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think you probably could. I think you're right. I think it's just the vehicles.
No, you're right. Yeah, just the vehicles.
So I think in replay that might be a very good strategy.
Having it right at the back, having that one.
The only issue is, I suppose, it's conceivable that the Germans would go a different route, but
because you've got both sides of the hill you can get off on. But
that looks much slower going that way.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but if you did have that hip guy in like Z1,
he can easily relocate, can't he?
And you'd be feeling very comfortable now about
very comfortable
off,
now. Yeah.
So
what I really want is the tank in Y1, so you can't even move into the hex without.
I've got to try and sort that out. So lots going on.
Lots going on.
2 turns to go, or 1.5 turns to go.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it. Yep.
All right.
Okay, great. Okay. All right.
So end of turn 5.
Yeah. Last half turn to go.
Last half turn.
It looks like you've done enough now to stop potentially both areas. So you have managed. You shocked my my SIG
with the anti-tank rifle.
Yeah, which had got in the position to be able to.
It's in a very good position to take out the tank.
Yeah, the tank.
Which is now in the only major exit hex that you have for these. Exactly. You've got no infantry off at the moment. No. You've got lots of infantry near there.
Yep.
And I've gone for the cheap, nasty trick of a wall of half squads and whatever.
Indeed. We didn't mention about our SMC overrun a few turns ago.
Yes, that was good. That was a very nice bit of rules use, I think. Well done.
Thanks. So that was a little half squad that jumped into your leader.
That's right. We mentioned that he picked up the light machine gun.
That's right.
And he had that, and he was ready to take that shot. And you pointed out straight after I made the mistake that I should have waited till you moved into my hex.
Well, you didn't necessarily know I was going to do that, I suppose.
You were sort of flicking through the rule book going, how do you do single man overrun? So I don't know why I fired Jason, but
in the woods,
just habit firing at Jason.
You were in the open.
Yeah.
I went through the woods, you fired at them, and then the overrun, past the normal task check, and then you basically... you can do your.
I think it wouldn't have made a difference. It would have killed me anyway.
Yeah, but then the fact is he can carry on moving as well, which is quite useful. And that's what might happen is you've got your leader that's CX down in the back there. So potentially I can try and overrun him there. I don't think I've got enough.
No, I mean obviously I'm going to try firing to stop you doing it. But you I haven't worked out the numbers whether you can. So
I've got to win both sides. Yeah. So you've got 2 tanks. You were a little bit risky with one tank. You tried to be clever and went round the back. Instead of just running towards my tank. Yeah. So I thought. Yeah, I was dreading you running towards me and me missing. Yeah, and then
that's what I should have done. And instead of that, I needed ESB, and it was a bit ambitious.
And you rolled well as well because you rolled a 5, but you were asking for 4 points.
It's crazy, and I forgot the Italians at +3.
Okay.
So had that been Americans, we would have made it.
Yeah. So now I've got 2 tanks here back guarding it. The anti-tank gun is not in the right place.
Yeah, you may yet fix the malfunction gun. It's in a great place if you do.
Yeah, I've got one other sneaky thing I'm going to try and do as well,
of course,
which is basically that the crew of the anti-tank gun is going to charge your tank, right? Because we've got anti-tank magnetic mines, so we can go for that.
Yeah, on a 5 or something.
Yeah,
is it on a 5?
something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's on actually.
And now, so there's.
It's on a 1 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it might be less for a
crew.
Yeah.
So I've got that,
Yeah.
but I mean, essentially, it's going to come down to whether I can take these 2 tanks out.
Yeah.
We'll do that bit first. If
Yeah.
I can't do that,
Then it's game over, isn't it?
And then if I do manage to do that, then I've got to try and get some points off, which is looking even harder.
Which is looking even harder.
Yeah, so,
Fair enough.
So I think it's looking quite good for you, but
you know,
it's come to the last half term.
It has indeed, and in fact, I don't think it was like all that clear at the end of last term.
No, it wasn't. I think this turn it
turned. I had the luck of shocking your sig.
Yeah, I think
that was a turning point near the end. Anyway.
Yeah, I think had I got lucky, it would have been a lucky shot with the sig against your tank.
I'd be struggling to get.
Yeah,
I'd be struggling to stop you getting 5 points off.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that's been the big swing.
Yeah.
But you know that is what it is. It's
exactly.
So yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll do the last turn.
Do the last turn. We'll feedback.
Yep. Okay. Here we go.
Right then.
Okay. All right. Well, the impossible dream was short-lived.
Yeah.
The sig was unconfirmed kill.
Yeah.
I then tried to take on the tank with an anti-tank rifle. That failed. The light machine gun failed.
Yeah.
We thought about doing an infantry overrun. They got broken.
They got broke before they got there. It was always looking like a bit of a long shot.
Yeah, I think
the sig was the best chance.
The sig coming in and then blowing the tank up had a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and actually the smoke would have helped get you guys off.
But it had to kill the tank at the back there.
It had to kill it. Yeah.
The Stugs couldn't beat your tanks. They were in motion. So we think there's threes to hit,
even
adjacent because of the moving, the Stugs that then stopped.
Yeah, yeah. And there's small targets, my tanks. Yeah.
So, I mean, it looked an awful long way away.
So what would be interesting is how I can see how the battle on board V for the infantry could have gone differently, and you could have got them off. If the Italians have and I wasn't always good at doing this, just keep them in motion and keep them moving, keep as far away from the Germans as they can. It's kind of quite difficult to see how the Germans counter that.
That's right, yeah. The Germans need static defences taking shots at the tanks to have any chance of hitting them.
But they haven't got turrets. They're terrible once they've moved, aren't they? Yeah.
But there's such a wide scope for the Italians to come round the back, out of line of sight of the German tanks and gun.
I mean, I suppose the truth is that you had too many tanks up on board V helping the infantry off when my tanks came on. I know you didn't know that they were going to come on, but I think
so. Yeah, I mean, it felt like 3 or 4 tanks back here that you did was the right, very very good move to do. To kind of have that.
I think that's the right thing for the Italians, definitely.
Yeah, and so whether the Germans have to almost be the Germans can't kind of guard this flank here because they're expecting the potentially the Italians to come on there because they don't know if they're not just hit somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I mean it's absolutely perfectly balanced on Raw. There's no question of it being unbalanced. But I think you did well. I think you made the right choices in the end. I thought I was going to kind of roll you over.
Yeah, and it felt like you were.
And then I thought, well, okay, the Stugs here will get back and they can tidy up, and the anti-tank gun will be. And in the end, the anti-tank gun had no shots at all. And we had to run the crew towards the tank to have any chance. And that was that really. You held me off comfortably on both sides.
You mentioned, and I think this is a good point, that actually using the infantry hip right over there near the most obvious exit point, perhaps in the building or something, might be quite a good move on the Italian part.
I'd feel safer as an Italian player with that. Because I was
struggling getting things back. I mean, I just about managed to get enough back to hold you in the end, but it was touch and go.
Right.
And things could have ended differently. You know, the artillery gun that broke your overrunning unit could have itself broken, couldn't it?
Yeah. But no, it's very good. I think it's a very, very good scenario. I really enjoyed
excellent. That was a very good game.
It's good challenging decisions for both players.
So we got some thoughts about next week.
We don't have any
thoughts. Are we going to announce this now? Okay.
What would you like to play next week?
I don't know.
Okay.
We can have a think about it.
We can do. I'm thinking that we could do an Action Pack 14 review.
That'd be a really good idea.
Yeah. Okay. So unless we think of anything else,
I think it's been requested.
Okay. So unless anything else comes up, Action Pack 14 review.
Yeah.
We should mention that you're playing with the Italian counters from.
We are indeed from the
NFT. is it?
They're from Late NFT. Yes,
Yep.
that's right. Yeah.
So they look good.
Yeah.
There's no problems with those. They nice and colourful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was there anything in this one that we needed? I don't think there's anything in this one that needed those counters. I think they were all in the base
I
set.
think that they would have been in the base set.
Yeah, these ones were okay.
Yeah, they're just ordinary elite Italians. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So I guess just to round up then, 3 patrons away from the March Madness or Le Frontier pack, or from the Celeste pack, sorry.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the Archives launch date probably next week. We'll get a launch date out for certain on that one. Anything else for you?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, okay. Well played. Thank you. I'm getting bored of saying that. Going to win a game or two in a minute. Until next time. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.